Hey everyone, and welcome back to Trending Tidbits. We're diving into a topic that's probably on everyone's mind right now, Thanksgiving travel. I know it can be a bit of a headache, but don't worry. We're here to help you navigate the chaos with some juicy insights, and maybe even a few laughs along the way.
Well, let's not sugarcoat it. 79.9 million Americans traveling 50 miles or more from home this Thanksgiving. That's a lot of turkey. And even more traffic.
It's like a giant gravy boat of travelers, all headed to their Thanksgiving feasts. But this year, AAA is doing something interesting with their predictions.
Right, they've expanded the travel window. They're now including Tuesday before and Monday after Thanksgiving. Which, when you think about it, is a more accurate picture of holiday travel, isn't it?
Definitely. People are squeezing in those extra travel days to maximize their time with loved ones, or maybe just to avoid the worst of the crowds.
It makes you wonder, though, how AAA comes up with such specific
Yeah,
predictions.
it's not like they're reading tea leaves or something.
More like crunching numbers. They work with S&P Global Market Intelligence and take into account all sorts of factors like employment rates, gas prices, even stock indices. It's a pretty sophisticated process.
So it's not just a random guesstimate. They're actually looking at all these economic indicators to predict how many people are going to hit the road, the skies, and maybe even the seas this Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Speaking of which, let's break down the travel modes, shall we?
Let's do it. So as you can imagine, road trips are still king of the Thanksgiving travel game. A record-breaking 71.7 million people are expected to drive this year, which is a whole lot of cars on the road.
And with gas prices being a hot topic lately, you might think everyone would be hesitant to hit the gas.
Exactly. I mean, more drivers equals more demand, which usually means higher prices, right?
That's the usual logic. But here's where it gets interesting. Gas prices are actually expected to be lower than last year, potentially even dipping below $3 a gallon nationally.
Okay, that's good news. But what's driving this unexpected dip?
Well, there are a few factors at play, but falling oil prices are a big one, and for those of you hitting the road, that's a welcome relief.
Definitely. I bet those savings could even cover an extra slice of pecan pie at the Thanksgiving table.
Maybe even two slices. Now, if you're among those braving the road trip this year, and let's face it, many of us are, Hertz has some fun insights on car rentals.
Ah, yes. Hertz, our trusty car rental friend. Spill the tea. What do they have to say?
Well, unsurprisingly, sunny destinations like Atlanta, Las Vegas, Miami, Oahu, and Orlando are topping the list of rental car hotspots.
Makes sense. Who wouldn't want to escape the cold and trade snow boots for flip-flops this Thanksgiving?
Exactly. But here's a pro tip for those renting. If you can avoid picking up or returning your car the Wednesday before, or the Monday and Tuesday after Thanksgiving, those are going to be the busiest days at the rental counters.
Solid advice. Plan ahead, folks, and maybe even pack some extra patience, because those rental car lines are going to be longer than a Thanksgiving dinner table.
Now, let's not forget about those soaring through the skies this Thanksgiving. Air travel is also expected to hit a new record, with 5.84 million domestic flyers.
Wow, that's a lot of people opting for the friendly skies.
Ah.
It seems like avoiding the traffic jams by flying might not be as easy as we thought.
What's fueling this surge in air travel?
It's actually a two-part story. First, we're seeing a post-pandemic travel boom.
Yeah,
People are eager to get out there and explore, especially after being cooped up for so long.
I totally get that. It's like we've all got this collective wanderlust that just can't be contained anymore.
And second, international flight prices have dropped, making those overseas trips more appealing.
Interesting. So while domestic flights might be a bit pricier this Thanksgiving, international travel is actually looking like a good deal. I guess it's all about weighing your options and finding what works best for you and your travel budget.
Right, and there's always the alternative modes of transport,
Okay.
which are seeing a comeback too. Buses, cruises, trains, they're all experiencing a surge in popularity. And here's where it gets really interesting. Cruises are leading the charge, with a whopping 18% increase over 2019 figures. It's like everyone's suddenly craving ocean breezes and all-you-can-eat buffets.
I think it's more than just the buffets, though they are tempting. Cruises offer a unique travel experience, right? You unpack once and get to see multiple destinations without the hassle of constantly repacking your suitcase.
That's true, and let's not forget the entertainment, the activities, and the whole being pampered at sea vibe.
Exactly, it's like a floating resort. And for many people, that's the perfect way to escape the holiday hustle and bustle.
All right, so we've covered the who, the what, and the why of Thanksgiving travel. But now let's get real about the when. I'm talking about traffic. The inevitable beasts we all have to face.
Ah, yes, the traffic beast. Well, our friends at INRAX, the transportation data experts, have some insights to help us navigate this potential nightmare.
Okay, INRIX, lay it on us. What do we need to know?
First, the bad news. Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon are going to be the worst times to travel by car.
Makes sense. Everyone's trying to reach their destinations before the big feast. But there's got to be a silver lining here, right?
There is. Believe it or not, the best time to hit the road is actually Thanksgiving Day itself.
Wait, really? Thanksgiving Day? That's a game changer. I might actually try to convince my family to have a late-night Thanksgiving dinner, just to avoid the traffic madness.
It's worth considering, especially if you're driving in a major metropolitan area. Of course, even if you're traveling on a less congested day, it's always wise to utilize traffic apps and check local news alerts for any unexpected delays.
Absolutely. Speaking of INRX's data, they've actually crunched the numbers for specific routes and cities. And let me tell you, some of these predictions are a bit scary.
Oh, do tell. What are some of the horror stories they've uncovered?
Well, for example, if you're driving from Los Angeles to Bakersfield on Wednesday evening, buckle up, because your travel time is expected to be more than double the usual.
Ouch. That's a long haul turned even longer.
And it's not just LA. INRIX has also predicted significant delays on routes in and out of major cities like Boston, New York, Chicago, and Seattle. So if you're heading to or from a major city, brace yourselves, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Speaking of Chicago, I know you had a hypothetical trip in mind.
Yes. I'm planning a Thanksgiving road trip from St. Louis to Chicago and back, and I need your expert advice on the best day and time to travel to avoid the worst of the traffic.
All right, let's plot your escape route from the Chicago traffic monster. First off, when are you thinking of heading back from Chicago?
Well, traditionally, we've always driven back on Sunday afternoon, but honestly, after hearing those traffic predictions, I'm having second thoughts.
Smart move. According to the INRX data, Sunday, December 1st, between 12:00 p.m. and 6:00 p.m. is prime time for congestion in the Chicago area. In fact, they're predicting a 45% increase in travel time on I-65 North, which connects Indianapolis to Chicago. So yeah, maybe skip the Sunday afternoon drive.
Okay, Sunday afternoon is officially off the table. What about other times? Would Sunday morning be any better?
Let's see. Leaving really early Sunday morning, like before 1:00 p.m., might be a decent option. Traffic tends to be lighter in the early hours.
Getting everyone up and out the door at the crack of dawn on Sunday? That might be a tough sell, especially after a big Thanksgiving feast.
I hear you. Another possibility is to wait until later in the evening on Sunday. Traffic usually dies down after the dinner rush.
That might be a better strategy. We can have a leisurely brunch in Chicago. Maybe we do some sightseeing, and then hit the road when the traffic is hopefully less intense.
Sounds like a plan. Now, what about the drive up to Chicago? When are you thinking of leaving St. Louis?
We were thinking about leaving Wednesday afternoon, but again, after hearing about the potential for major delays, I'm wondering if that's the wisest choice.
You're definitely on the right track with that thinking. Wednesday afternoon is notoriously one of the busiest travel times nationwide.
So what are our alternatives? Tuesday.
You know what? Tuesday is actually a pretty good option. The Tuesday before Thanksgiving is generally less congested than Wednesday. Leaving early Tuesday morning before 10 a.m. would be your best bet. You'll beat the rush and have plenty of time to settle in before the festivities begin.
Early bird gets the worm and avoids the traffic jams. I think I can convince my family to have an early Thanksgiving brunch in Chicago. That way we can beat the traffic and still have plenty of time to enjoy the day.
Exactly. Plus, imagine the satisfaction of arriving in Chicago, relaxed and ready to celebrate, while everyone else is still stuck in traffic.
Oh, that's a beautiful image. I can already picture it. Sipping on some hot cider while watching the traffic reports on TV and feeling incredibly smug about our strategic travel plan.
That's the spirit. And remember, even with the best laid plans, traffic can be unpredictable, so make sure you have a good traffic app on your phone, stay updated on any road closures or accidents, and be prepared to adjust your route if needed.
Solid advice. Flexibility is key when it comes to Thanksgiving travel. Now, besides traffic predictions, what else can we learn from INRX's data?
They also highlight the importance of considering the specific routes you'll be taking. For example, if you're traveling in the Northeast, I-95 is notorious for Thanksgiving gridlock. And in the West, I-5 is often a parking lot.
So it's not just about avoiding peak travel times, but also being strategic about which roads you choose.
Exactly. And that's where those real-time traffic apps come in handy. They can help you navigate around those congested highways and find alternate routes.
Speaking of technology, I wonder if we'll see any new travel innovations emerge in the coming years. that could make Thanksgiving travel less stressful?
That's a great question. I mean, we already have self-driving cars on the horizon. Imagine a future where you can just sit back, relax, and let the car do the driving while you enjoy a Thanksgiving movie marathon on the way to your destination.
Okay, that sounds amazing. Sign me up for that future.
Right. Or maybe we'll have Hyperloop systems that can whisk us from St. Louis to Chicago in a matter of minutes, no traffic required.
Now you're just teasing me with these futuristic travel dreams. But hey, a traveler can dream, right?
Absolutely. Who knows what the future holds? But one thing's for sure, the demand for Thanksgiving travel isn't going anywhere. So there's definitely an incentive for innovation in this space.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about traffic and technology, but let's not forget about the actual destinations people are flocking to this Thanksgiving. Any trends emerging?
Oh, definitely. According to AAA's booking data, warm weather destinations are all the rage this year. 4 Florida cities, Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Tampa, made it into the top 10 domestic destinations.
Makes sense. I mean, who wouldn't want to trade in the chilly autumn weather
Oh,
for some sunshine and beach vibes?
yeah.
Plus, with international flight prices being a bit higher this year, I bet a lot of people are opting for more affordable domestic getaways.
That's a great point. It's all about finding the right balance between budget and travel desires. And it seems like Florida is ticking a lot of boxes for travelers this year.
Definitely. And it's not just Florida. Other popular domestic spots include New York City, always a classic, Anaheim and Los Angeles in California, Honolulu and Hawaii, and of course the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas.
So we've got a mix of big city excitement, beach relaxation,
Yeah.
and theme park adventures. Something for everyone.
Exactly. But what of those who are venturing beyond the U.S. borders this Thanksgiving? What international destinations are trending?
Well, international travel is definitely making a comeback. And it seems like Europe and the Caribbean are the hottest tickets this year. Europe, with its rich history, stunning architecture, and charming cities, is always a popular choice.
And let's not forget about those European Christmas markets. Sipping on mulled wine and browsing handcrafted ornaments, it's the perfect way to get into the holiday spirit.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's the Caribbean with its crystal clear waters, white sandy beaches, and laid-back island vibes. It's the ultimate escape from the holiday hustle and bustle.
Plus, those river cruises you mentioned earlier are a big draw for the Caribbean. It's like the best of both worlds. You get to experience the beauty of the islands and the luxury of a floating resort.
Exactly. And speaking of hotspots, Budapest in Hungary is topping the list of international destinations this Thanksgiving, followed by Mexicali in Mexico and San Juan in Puerto Rico.
Budapest. Now, that's a destination I haven't heard mentioned much before. What's driving its popularity?
Well, Budapest is known for its stunning architecture, thermal baths, and vibrant nightlife. Plus, it's relatively affordable compared to other European capitals, which might be a factor in its rising popularity.
Interesting. It sounds like a hidden gem that's finally getting the recognition it deserves.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about the classic favorites, Cancun, Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, and European cities like Rome, Amsterdam, Paris, Barcelona, and Munich.
It's great to see that travelers are branching out and exploring both familiar favorites and new destinations this Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. The post-pandemic travel boom is in full swing, and people are making the most of it. They're embracing new experiences, rediscovering old favorites, and creating lasting memories with their loved ones.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, from traffic predictions to destination trends. Let's recap some key takeaways for our listeners who are about to embark on their Thanksgiving journeys.
First and foremost, plan ahead. Don't wait until the last minute to book your flights, rental cars, or accommodations. Prices tend to skyrocket as we get closer to the holiday, so the earlier you book, the better.
And if you're hitting the road, be prepared for traffic. Check INRIX's data for peak congestion periods. Consider traveling on less busy days like Thanksgiving Day itself, and utilize traffic apps to stay updated on road conditions.
Flexibility is your best friend when it comes to Thanksgiving travel. Be prepared to adjust your route if needed, and don't stress too much if things don't go exactly according to plan.
Most importantly, remember the true spirit of Thanksgiving: gratitude, connection, and delicious food shared with loved ones.
Well said. The journey might be a little hectic, but the destination and the company are worth it.
Now, before we wrap up this Thanksgiving travel edition of Trending Tidbits, I have a final thought-provoking question for our listeners. With travel trends constantly evolving and demand increasing, how do you think Thanksgiving travel will look in the coming years? Will we see new technologies emerge that make travel smoother? Or perhaps new travel patterns will develop, with people opting for alternative destinations or modes of transport?
That's a fantastic question. It really gets you thinking about the future of travel and how it might intersect with this very traditional holiday.
I know, right? It's like picturing a Thanksgiving dinner table in a self-driving car, or a virtual reality Thanksgiving feast with family members scattered across the globe.
It's hard to predict the future with certainty, but one thing's for sure. The desire to connect with loved ones during the holidays will always remain strong.
Absolutely. That human connection is at the heart of Thanksgiving, and it's what drives us to brave those crowded airports, traffic jams,
Mhm.
and overflowing rental car counters.
Exactly. And as long as that desire exists, people will find ways to travel no matter the obstacles. We humans are incredibly adaptable, and I'm sure we'll continue to find innovative ways to make Thanksgiving travel more efficient, enjoyable, and memorable.
Maybe one day we'll all be teleporting to our Thanksgiving destinations.
Now, that would be a game changer. Imagine skipping the airport security lines and the traffic jams altogether and just beaming ourselves directly to Grandma's house.
Sign me up for that. But in the meantime, I think we've given our listeners plenty to think about and hopefully some helpful tips to navigate the Thanksgiving travel rush.
Remember, folks, plan ahead, pack your patience, and most importantly, don't forget to savor those precious moments with your loved ones.
From all of us here at Trending Tidbits, we wish you safe and stress-free journeys to your Thanksgiving destinations.
Happy travels, everyone, and don't forget to tune in next week for another deep dive into the latest trends.